This cat needs so much attention, it's not even funny. But hey, I'm the one with man flu. What about me? Good morning, everyone. My name is Jan. And every week I show you the sights and sounds of Barcelona, where I like to draw to my heart's content. And making my studio a little bit more personal. And I took a hold of the big box of drawings from the last 6 months, and I've just been... There's more, but you know, I can only reach so far. So there's a couple from this week that I'm actually quite pleased with. I didn't make any videos of them. I'll put some. I've made most of my videos in the past day or so because I've been sick, and I've been going to work sick, but that's a different story. So what do we got here? We've got, per request, after drawing the Green Goblin and getting some good reactions, I got a request for Kurt Russell from Samurai Ox, from I Never Forgot. The amazing adventures of a drifter facing off in a zombie apocalypse. His own fears about mortality. And so yeah, Kurt came out pretty good. I still, like, I kind of want to, like, this is one of those, actually all three of these drawings are kind of nice little, how should I put it? Like, I'm really proud of these three pieces. Like they're the kind of drawings that are like, okay, let's make something. And then this comes out and I'm kind of like, I didn't know I could do that quickly without too much hassle. Like, it shows that I've improved in the past year, and that hitting it out of the park is getting easier, and I'm more consistent in making, you know, bigger, better pieces all the time. Yes, I know, but I already fed you, so get lost. So yeah. The one thing I do have to say about the Kurt Russell one is that the cross hatching on the cheek, I like it, but I need to kind of fine tune it. Yeah, because it's a little too dark, I think. And the hair, that's where I got a little tired and lazy, so I went a little too fast. It came out okay, but I need to find this happy medium between being able to draw fast and good. And hair is hard, and it's a pain. Just draw the silhouette, is my advice. The Goblin. I actually drew the Goblin watching episodes ago. I kind of pointed out that I've picked these three artists who I kind of want to put as my patron saints of the arts up there. They're not forever, but for now, for the comic book project I'm making, Phosphor, I'm kind of keeping them as like my main inspiration. And they are Arthur Adams, Travis Rust of Charret, if you want to go French, and Eric Larson. And for different reasons. Like, I love all of them. I love many more artists, but like, I've picked these three. Like, these are really, like, I'm constantly, over the past couple of years, been drawn to these three. So I was watching Arthur Adams draw the Goblin, and I'll put a link down below if you want to check out the video yourself. And I took a picture of myself, pulled a face, and used it as a reference, and away I went. And so with the Goblin one, I have to say, I'm still finding myself completely overdoing it. And if there's one thing that I find so amazing with Arthur Adams, is that nowadays he's so stylized in his drawings. Like, let me see if I can insert an old drawing of the Goblin, where he used to completely overdo it back in the day, in the 80s. And so I'm kind of like, I find myself doing that, like completely just going overboard rendering, and it's, for myself, I call it sketching. Like, I see it as I'm sketching in ink. That's what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of trying to make something come out, and he does it with so much less, and I just can't seem to stop myself. So on the one hand, I'm kind of taking a step back and going like, well, this is just how I enjoy drawing, and it's fine. And on the other hand, I'm very keen on learning how he holds back and stops. And now it's done. And like trying to find maybe a different way just to see if it would speed things up. So one of the things I've been doing this week is I've just put up a video of them drawing, put up a picture, black and white, with some really cool texture, something I really like. And then I just kind of keep that up there as inspiration and try and apply it to one of my own drawings. So there's an old one where I took the inspiration for a hair from Arthur Adams and just kind of applied it to a drawing I was making. And then down here with Kurt Russell, I find like this chin, and it's very Travis Charest. Whereas, let's see, nah, not that one. But this is definitely very Eric Larson. So yeah, so it's been fun. It's been fun kind of not trying to have to reinvent the wheel myself, but just kind of looking at what my own favorite comic book artists out there have done themselves and just copy and learn and integrate it into my own style, whatever that might be one day. So I thought it'd be fun to take an old drawing of mine from 2014. I really like this drawing, but let's not be precious about it. Let's ink this. Let's see what we can do with it, huh? I remember now. This is from that movie, the Jackal, not the Bruce Willis one, if there was a Bruce Willis one. Just came to mind. No, this was that movie about that top Colombian hitman who was on the top of the world's most wanted list for the longest time and had all these very creative ways of getting rid of people for a price. Still trying to figure out the correct light source, guys. Actually, this gives me some ideas for creative shadowing or something. I thought I'd give you a little update on where I'm at with my 3D. Venturing into town looking for something a little bit more modern to capture and show you guys, which tend to showcase Barcelona's older part of town. I really, looking at them, I just could not help but want to make one in 3D. But not having touched my my program of choice from 2 weeks ago, Blender, I kind of had to relearn some of the trickier stuff, and it just, oh my God, so frustrating. So frustrating. Blender is amazing, what you can do with it, but the UI and the amount of windows on display and how easy it is to get lost had me rage quitting very quickly. Now, this might be because I'm sick, and so my attention span is not too great. But and I also it kind of made me reevaluate how I'm spending my time, so not feeling too great and not having a lot of time and just kind of wanting to lie in bed. I just resorted to my sketchbook. I can do that in bed, but I can't to do 3D, I need to have my little setup, which now includes a mouse. But it's got 3 buttons, so that's all that matters. So I kind of rage quit Blender. Now I figure if I stick with it, I can get myself up to speed like I was with ZBrush. But then I was also thinking, like, there's only so many hours a day. There's only so much time I have for my art. It's a lot more time than I thought I had. But I need to invest it wisely. So if the plan is ultimately to make a comic book, this could prove to be too much of a distraction. But I do want to have a bit of a distraction art-wise, creatively speaking. I don't want it to be just what I've shown you. To prevent burnout, like, as much as I love drawing, but if I'm constantly like drawing, I get burned out, I get bored. And this way I get to do something that is creative and fun, but different, but it'll inspire me to get back to the art instead of completely taking over my life. So after a day of fighting with Blender, but not wanting to give up, but kind of like having had enough, I decided to look at SketchUp one more time, which has a much easier interface. It's much easier to use. Of course, it's not full-on 3D, but I kind of found this compromise in my mind of like, well, what is it I'm doing right now? Like, I've moved from drawing portraits to people together, figure drawing, putting people in scenes. And with SketchUp, you can do all that stuff with a little bit of imagination. But then I realized, like, a lot of artists use SketchUp solely. With all the models you can download online and just plop into a scene. That's kind of how they build very complex scenes very quickly with light and shadow, and they just sketch on top of it. Not bad for a first attempt inking 3D models, but I need to practice more. Didn't work last week, did it? One of these a day. Switch to these. So right now with SketchUp, I'm practicing moving stuff around because especially the rotating and whatnot, I find it a little bit finicky. But I'm getting into the swing with the keyboard shortcuts. I'm writing everything down right here on my desktop. And I've been having a look at the 3D warehouse where you can download all the models. And yes, of course, I found my X-Wing, but there's everything. So now I'm looking at plumbing and piping and industrial type stuff that I can just kind of plop on a wall so I can move the walls around. And I'm trying to look into how I can save this out for myself so I can keep reusing it if that's possible. So here's my first attempt. I found some pipes. I found a sci-fi corridor of some kind. I think it's Babylon 5 or something. Messing around with some shadows, putting stuff down. 2 hours later. So yes, this is something I've been watching concept artists do forever, which is they just, concept artists, they have to make a lot of art very fast, and so they'll use any program and any means available, like photo bashing, like you name it. And I've always found that very fascinating, very inspiring, even though I've always been more of a traditional, like making pretty pictures on paper kind of guy. But I do love digital art and learning all this stuff. And I think the last 2 days putting in a little bit of effort into SketchUp has paid off. Like, it's not hard. Like all 3D, it's definitely like moving stuff around in a 3D space and like copying, pasting one pipe over here, but then all of a sudden it's somewhere in the distance, apparently. I don't know how, but that stuff is still frustrating, but like getting the hang of it and like how to kind of position the camera and everything. Overall, considering how much time I've put into Blender, easily like 2 or 3 days, and how much time I've put into SketchUp, and here we go, there's a scene. That's the difference. So I guess I'm going with SketchUp for the time being. So yeah, so I've enjoyed putting in some figures. I'm looking forward to just sketching in 3D and just kind of coming up with these industrial landscapes for my comic book to take place in, while also having a venue to practice figure drawing. You know, it's a lot easier to just come up with stuff when half of it is already in front of you. You know, whether it's a guy looking up at an X-Wing flying by, or kids having a place to play around in. Yeah, it just kind of speeds things up, you know. In case you sit down and look at a piece of paper and sky's the limit, you can draw anything you want. What are you going to draw? I don't know. It's tough sometimes. So yes, so with that, I'd like to end this video. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do like what you see, just hit subscribe. There's going to be another one next week. There might be even one in between. Who knows? I still have some leftover time lapse, and you know, I did see that Doctor Strange movie and finished watching Luke Cage and playing that Batman game. I need to vent somewhere. I'll be sure to check out your videos. If you have any questions, let me know. But this has been Jan here in Barcelona. Good night.